You guys are doing Crucible, right?
What of?
So as you saw in that intro, this build is absolutely insane when it comes to close range. Like, I had multiple people meleeing me and I just wouldn't die, and it's just so good up close. There were games where I would use this whole setup and then people would switch to glaives to try to counter me, and even then they still couldn't do anything because of this whole build. Alright, so the main things you're gonna need is obviously a glaive. I suggest Nezarac's Whisper because there's a fragment you could choose between in the subclass section, but any glaive is fine. I suggest using Nezarac's Whisper, but if you don't have this, you could also use the Enigma. And the exotic you will need for this is the ACD feedback fences, as it will pair very well with the subclass. So for the glaive, I highly suggest crafting it and getting this combination, which is super cooled accelerator, swap mag, which will help with getting your health back whenever you need to switch to a normal weapon, impulse amplifier, and unstoppable force. I don't have it enhanced right now because I'm kind of low on material, but I highly suggest crafting both of these with enhanced versions. I also put on a quick access sling, which will also help with swapping weapons. So for the subclass setup, you're going to want to run thruster so that you get your class ability very quick. This will go very good with the juggernaut aspect, which when you have your class ability, you get a frontal shield, and when you're amplified, it makes the shield even stronger. So this will help close the gap when you're trying to ape someone with this setup. For the jump, I use strafe. You can use whichever one, but I prefer strafe. For the melee, I use seismic strike because I would use the thunderclap or the ballistic slam, but these two kind of leave you vulnerable to dying, and seismic strike is all about movement and it'll help you with movement when using this build. For the grenade, I use flashbang. You could also use skip grenades, but I prefer using flashbang so that if you blind someone, it's very easy to close the gap since they can't see you, obviously. So for the aspects, as I said earlier, I use juggernaut. I also use knockout, which when you break someone's shield, your melee attacks deal arc energy, and also you have increased melee range as if you had syntheseps. This does not stack with the glaive though, but this is why you run a quick draw weapon so that you could easily switch, and then if you have to get your health back, you just use your normal melee, and it does extra damage as well. So when you kill someone with that melee, you get your health back and also you become amplified, which helps with movement and also makes the juggernaut shield even stronger. So be sure to run these two aspects. So for the fragments, you want to use Spark of Focus. You may be wondering why I'm not using Spark of Discharge, and the reason is because this build is mostly based on movement, and sprinting gives you your class ability back, which will give you Juggernaut. So I mean, you're using Juggernaut all the time, so this will really help in getting it back quickly. The second fragment is Spark of Resistance. You'll see in the damage tests that this does help with surviving melees and damage. And Spark of Feedback, which whenever you get meleeed, your melee does more damage. So you get meleeed, your melees become stronger. So for your whole stat build, I suggest getting 100 Rezo, since this is tied with getting your class ability, which is also tied to getting Juggernaut back. And on top of that, I suggest stacking 100 recovery. I have 90 here because this is the best I could get. But besides these two, you also want to spec out high in strength so you get your shoulder charge back quickly. But other than that, those three are the stats you want tier 100s pretty much. And then everything else is all based on your own preference. So you might be wondering why the feedback fences are so important in this build, and it's because melees build energy. So you get 3 stacks of fury conductors, and this will help you get one-shot kills and also help you survive melees as well. So whenever you're meleeed, it reduces the whole melee damage, and not only that, you unleash like arc blast, so the range is pretty nasty for this. And I mean, if they're somewhat close to you, everyone who's in like your area is going to get tagged, and it's just super easy to clean up kills when you're using a glaive with this. And with the fragments as well, your glaive just becomes just absolutely nutty. So in the next few clips, I'm going to show you guys damage tests so you can see how the whole damage situation works with all the stacks of buffs and debuffs.
100. 90. 41. 27.
Then do you have knockout? Oh. Yeah. So it's 8. It's us. It is close.
I literally hit you for 27.
Yes! 3 down!
One thing I also suggest is running a quick draw weapon. It could be anything. I was using Survivor's Epitaph since that's the only gun I really have quick draw that's a primary, and this will help with getting your health back. So if you're weak, you could always just switch to your normal weapon and then melee someone when you have knockout to get your health back and to become amplified, which will definitely help in securing those kills with the glaive and also making Juggernaut even stronger. I also suggest using the half truths or the other half with eager edge, since these do help with movement. But other than that, let me know what you guys think. Try this build out. I honestly think this will break trials, and it will be absolutely broken when people pair it with stuff like Omni Oculus and Radiant. But I guess we'll see. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy the rest of the footage, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
They've stopped your spark runner. Guardian down. Your legend, Rose, defends your runner. Your runner moving in. Your team ignited the rift. What can stop you? Runner approaching the rift. 5 minutes left. Keep it up. Your team has ignited the enemy. Enemy runner down. Good work. Enemy runner stopped. Minutes left. Keep it up. Double down. One after another. Down. 3 opponents down. One more, Guardian.